Hello and welcome to today's content, which we'll be talking about Minwu, since she has been released for the Fire Selection Quest, and also because it is a little bit late to getting to her, but yeah, I've been busy and trying to get stuff out now while I can before the few weeks that are to come, which is going to get very busy. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. For abilities, for Minwu specifically, she's going to get the new main job, which is going to be Devout. And for this as a base unit, she's going to get Cure, Teaching of the Flame, Teachings of Self-Preservation, Law of Invigoration, and then Dream Inducer. Because she is a Selection Quest unit, she does not have a limit break. From here, her EX upgrades is going to change Teaching of the Flames to Rites of the Flame, which is going to increase the fire attack even further. But I don't know if this is really a buff or a nerf in my opinion, because the activation slash cast time goes from 4 turns, according to the website, to 3 turns now. So it's like, do you really want less turns? I know the effect of it is slightly higher in terms of, like, if we go by literal amounts, it's like 100 activation time. However, for the less amount of turns, you better hope you kind of end the battle within those 3 turns then. But yeah, from here, the Law of Invigoration turns into Greater Law of Invigoration, which, as you can see, range height is 3 and it's going to be 5 tiles out, so it does get a range increase. This is going to be very nice because this is an insta-cast heal, because as you see, everything else pretty much has a cast time. And lastly, for her EX upgrade, she is going to get Ultima, which is going to be Spirit Penetration 40% and Magic Resistance Penetration by 40% for that attack specifically. And then as you can see, it's not going to have elemental damage, but it will be magic. And it has very far range. It has 5 tiles away. Overall, looks like it's going to be a support, as you can probably tell. But yeah, let's go to the sub-jobs. Law of Mitigation is going to be specifically for herself for AoE resistance and slash resistance. And then she has Cura. Keep in mind, this is the only AoE heal she has in her kit. She does get the Cleric sub-job, which most importantly in my opinion will be either a Sunaga, mostly for either like PvE stuff or just in general. And then Light Veil and Dark Veil specifically if you want to kind of have fire kind of like contend with them, but with more defenses pretty much. And then lastly, we do have the Time Mage sub-job, which most importantly, she has Haste and Quicken. Quicken being very useful in the right hands. This is pretty nice to see. Overall, it also just gives her usage for the Time Mage sub-job for Haste. So yeah, overall, she has some pretty good utility if she's used correctly. Here we are for resistances and passives. So damage type, she's going to have negative 5% to slash, pierce, and strike. Missile is going to be negative 10% and then 10% to magic attack types. She's going to have 0% AoE, 0% single target. Level 120, master ability included. She has 0 defense but 6 spirit. Her resistances to statuses is going to be 50% to poison and sleep and then 10% to frostbite. So I will say the statuses, resistances, are not going to be looking too pretty, honestly. For her master ability, she's going to have the element fire, and then she does have increased magic for herself, so she will be getting a good amount of magic stat overall. She's going to be a 3 move, 1 jump unit, 80 cost, and her passives, what I highly recommend, very hard to kind of use outside of this setup, is going to be Devout Intuition, mostly for her own survivability. I know it lowers her magic attack, but seriously, if you're going to use anyone for magic attack and you want to use Minwu specifically for it, I don't know what to tell you. There is a significant amount of other units that can do her job better in terms of DPS if you really want to use it. So yeah, use this passive to just help her survive. And then Speed Cast. Because she has nothing to help her with casting time outside of her own passive or casting an ability for 3 turns or 4 to 3 turns depending if you upgrade it. This is very important in my opinion, otherwise she's not going to be getting her abilities out on time outside of her instant heal 1 ability she does have. From here, for niche and flex builds, if you really wanted to boost her spirit, because she does have a lot of spirit, as you can see here, 15 from Devout Intuition and then 15 spirit up here and then 6 base, that is 36 base spirit, which is very high. You can go for that route, so even then it's not too niche for that, you can do it if you want to. And then no CT changes, it's not going to be really too important, like mostly for PvE it will be good, but in the overall spectrum of things it's not that great. Now for reaction abilities, Counter Cure and Auto Cure are literally the exact same thing. I kind of wish they give her a better one on her own Devout main job, so like maybe Counter Cure is like 30% or even give herself a little bit of healing power, kind of like Aeon Bond, but she doesn't. So as you can see, if you use any of the healing ones for sustain, Counter Cure or Auto Cure, it does not matter. If you do want slow counter, however, and you expect her to survive a hit at all, then you can use slow counter as well. As you can see though, overall here, she does not have healing power in her passives or her reaction abilities. It has to be from her ability cast. But yeah, let's head over to the other slide. Here we are at Minwu's rating out of 5. So unfortunately for her, she's only going to be 3 out of 5, and this does mean she does not have an example page next slide, so this will be the last slide. I will say, she does have a very good supportive kit, however she's missing very crucial things that a support kind of needs in terms of like, she has one like, she's literally missing some crucial parts, kind of like a good AoE heal and or 100% hit, and or why does her EX ability, was it Ultima? Was she given an attack rather than like a re-raise or a full life? I don't understand. But yeah, that's why she's like, it's very wishy-washy on her kit. It does not build well off her overall in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, let's talk about the pros. First off, she's able to become a very good buff utility good healer that has good survivability based off her defense and spirit and not her resistances. Primarily speaking for survivability, spirit. As we talked earlier, you can get a very high amount of spirit, which is very nice if you want to go against magic compositions overall. She has high magic total, she has a low total HP however, but she does have decent agility, so she can kind of keep up to most compositions. Her greater law of invigoration is a strong single target heal and buff in one. It also has very far range without a cast time as well, so this can be a very good instant heal for units that are like taking damage and they need to be healed up. She has access to only realistically one attack type, which is going to be magic. However, it does have 40% spirit and magic resistance penetration on Ultima. She can flex into the Time Mage subjob or her Cleric subjobs for different buffs to provide for her team. As we talked earlier, Time Mage can go Haste and Quicken specifically, and Cleric can have Dark or Light Veil if you really want to push for that situation of fire versus dark or light. Now, Teachings of Self-Preservation is able to significantly increase defense and spirit for her team, as well as providing the needed healing power buff, which all healers really need to a certain extent. You cannot expect good heals on a unit that does not have healing power. Like, it will not be anywhere close, especially if you get healing power down and you don't have healing power. Your healer is not, they're not going to be healing anything much. Like, they're kind of doomed. With a super defensive passive setup for Spirit, as we talked earlier, she can reach a base of 36 Spirit, similar to Rain's base Spirit potential if he just uses his, I think it's Knight's Intuition or something. But yeah, if he uses that passive, then he's at 38, Minwu is going to be at 36, making her able to take magic damage decently well. It's going to be one of the highest base magic like spirits in general, so this is very nice to see in terms of just survivability. Counter Cure and Auto Cure are kind of like budget Aeon bonds. But they can still be effective though, like in terms of survivability against like magic damage that's unable to take out Minwu quickly. Like if they do not have high enough spirit penetration and they're just hitting Minwu, she can kind of lock them out of their like dying, because she could just counter cure and auto cure continuously if it continuously procs. She is able to use Helena's TMR on top of her big spirit already. If you did use that type of build, she can take actually a lot more magic damage overall. Like, it's gonna force magic dealers to not only have to take out her spirit or penetrate it, they also take out her magic barrier if she uses Helena's TMR in that situation. And lastly, but not least, she has extremely long range healing abilities, which can keep Minwu out of range of most enemies in terms of like abilities as well. Like, she won't be hit by most AoE unless she's kind of grouped up, but because she has very far range, she is able to kind of keep back a bit more. Now let's talk about the negatives. By using Devout Intuition for defense and spirit, it causes Minwu to lose a significant amount of DPS loss even for the cleanup. And what I mean by cleanup is that maybe it's like very low HP enemy, because literally Devout Intuition like lowers her own magic attack type itself. It is possible she can't even clean up kills because of that like damage loss. And just in general, it's like saying. Also because she's gonna be very reliant on Ultima for dealing damage against tanks and magic tanks in general, so yeah, you really have to like consider. It is a negative at the same time. She's not really gonna be there for DPS, but it is still a negative for her. Like, I don't know why she gets this like negative part added to that passive when they didn't even have to put it in there in the first place. It's not like she has like a game breaking like new ability. Like, Ultima does not even have the fire element, so she can't even like benefit off like fire tech up. I really don't know why that was a thing, but yeah, that's how it is for her. She's going to be very reliant on using abilities for cast time and healing power, which are very crucial to her overall kit, because literally 99% of her abilities, even in subjob, have cast time outside of her, you know, the healing one I said earlier. she really needs that cast time. So without using her abilities to like boost up her own cast time and the healing power, she's not even gonna be healing too much compared to like Fina or like Yuna, stuff like that. She won't even be near their level of healing. As I said, she has cast time on all abilities outside of her Law of Invigoration, which is her big heal. Single target, by the way. The big thing, she has no re-raise, she has no full life, and her AoE healing is only on Kira, which is on a sub-job and does not heal anywhere like a large amount compared to it. Does not heal anywhere compared to like Kyuraga, does not heal anywhere compared to like Smile Practice, does not heal anything like Superior Healing. She has good single target healing, but she has abysmal AoE healing. Which is kind of ironic for Fire, because King Mont and Glaciella Regali both have AoE resistance, so they're kind of banking on grouping up AoE together, but she doesn't have AoE healing. Huh? Question mark? Hello? Design-wise, that just... Why? Anyways, carrying on. Counter Cure and Auto Cure are exactly the same, but they have actually less functionality as Aeon Bond. Even worse if Minwu doesn't use Teachings of Self-Preservation beforehand, because... Wait, that looks like a typo. I should have put it together. But anyways, yeah, without her healing power up, even if she procs Counter Cure and Auto Cure, it will not even heal her too much. Considering that Aeon Bond or like healing power up already, and then they use it, it will heal a good amount, but without it, it will just heal like a decent amount instead. So yeah, it's also unfortunate that Counter Cure and Auto Cure, both their activation rates are base of 20% instead of Aeon Bond's 30%. So it really is like, why did they give her a gimped passive when it's already there on Cleric? Like, come on. Also, despite her high spirit, units with high spirit penetration, despite the attack type and resistances, will easily pierce Minwu's defenses. So, like, something like Jaden with like the silver rimmed spectacles, he has 60% total spirit penetration with that setup. Minwu is not surviving very long. Even with her like large amount of spirit, she is not surviving long. Now, while Minwu does have Ultimate and Dream Inducer for her attacks, if she is using her Devout passive, the magic attack type will be much weaker and unable to make a big difference. So yeah, unfortunately for that, because you have to kind of choose if you want her to survive more and maybe deal a bit more damage, or I mean like survive more and deal a little bit less more damage, or not at all, because I mean she's really not going to be that useful for DPS. I really think Minwu is more of a PvE type of unit. She's going to be really good on like manual or like stuff like that in terms of outside of PvP. But PvP, I mean I'm saying, it sounds like I'm saying the same thing. Player versus environment, I think she is really good. Player versus player, I think she struggles heavily because she's not able to keep up with the meta in terms of what we have available to us right now and in the future. Next up, no 100% hit ability, and she's unable to provide her party with accuracy, means fire types, once again, does not have a solid 100% hit ability. And this also happens with Setia, which is the fire, like warrior crystal of light, crystal of fire. In JP that is out, the sniper, she also does not have 100% hit ability. This means until Terra, which is the Final Fantasy 6 or a new like exclusive unit we get that is fire, does not have 100% hit abilities. Also, Minwu has a horrible luck stat and base luck stat, they're both horrible, so there's no chance of her even trying to help against evasion units overall. So you do have to worry about that. Now, with Re-Raise and Immortal Spirit still being very relevant, and Minwu really doesn't have any counterplay against it. Her best strategy against it is either going to be Sustain against like healing her team, or Quicken and Haste strategies against it. It is possible for her to be decent at it because of Quicken and Haste, but outside of that, she doesn't do anything special like compared to other units. Also, lastly, but not least, just off the top of my head for cons, she must have a tank and stay far back, otherwise she can be sniped very easily and or taken out with AoE chip damage. A full build with her, in turn like the WOTV calc like builder, if you do set her up by herself, she has like 4.7k max HP, and she's not even that tanky outside of her high spirit. So it's like Cloud, Ruin Stern, high spirit penetration units, because of her bad resistances already, if they have high defense or spirit penetration, they can easily kill her in like AoE chip damage, and or like if she just gets targeted because she doesn't have a tank. So she really has a specific build for what she needs to do, for what she can do. And lastly, talk about the TMR chase rating. Her TMR is going to be the first 8 back, which is an accessory that gives 422 HP, which is pretty good. 6 defense and 6 spirit, which is not bad. It's a good balance. And then 12 crit of 8, which is, I mean, it's there. I did give it a rating of 3 out of 5, mostly for the active effect, also because the 422 HP as accessory is pretty good, but mostly the active effect, which is going to be preventative medicine, which is going to increase the max HP and restore HP by 20% for 3 turns for allies, and it can nullify confusion, disable, and stun. Disable is the huge one, and 2, it has 2 casts, and 3 is also AoE, as well as it has range on it. And then 4, the 20% increased max HP and restoring the HP for that is pretty nice on units that have very high base HP, kind of like King Mont. So he will be super HP buffed with that. Like with the right setup, I could see him reaching easily like 11 or 12k HP with that, maybe even more possibly. But yeah, overall, this is Minwu's rating out of 5. We come to the end of the video. I kind of hope if you liked it. Like some end thoughts about her as a unit. I do think she's a really good healer, especially if you don't have like Yuna, you don't have Fina, you don't have Aerith. She is like a class under them because she is missing mostly full life or re-raise. However, she's not bad because she is basically free, as well as I think she has a really good kit specifically for like player versus environment. Like I think she really shines there. But as we know, Helena, Jaden, Elena, Engelbert, Dwayne, Rune Stern, Cloud, all those units, she can't really light a candle against them, unfortunately. So yeah, overall, this is what it is. She is a 3 out of 5 unit. But yeah, until next video, peace out.